forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, we don't know what it is we do. This misery looks so perfect and it fits you too. We pass around the lie, handing out our grief. All the debt that we speak, this shit all out for free. And to the souls we loathe, the hurts on overload, projecting all our shorts and losses mixed with blames and woes. The worst part we don't see, we reject community. There is nothing in this worldly way that's meant for you and me. Look, it's time to be free, to wake up from sleep, saying we won't but we wrapped up in sheets. The Father been calling his children for years. Too many tears from wrestling weeds, and we hurt from a bit of that. But we got a good gift like a Vinadab. Enemy flee from the white flag. Now better be free from the lie trap. But some of us just don't know, thinking we gotta prove self-promo, getting caught up in our quid pro quo, only to find we vested a bozo. But no risk, bro, the Holy Ghost, Counselor and Holy Host, brings us to the highest places when we sit in the low of lows and no one knows. Please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord, please forgive my ignorance. Never wanted this, should've been oblivious and kept my innocence. Father, we don't know what we doing. Father, we don't know what we doing. Lord.
Means community, and they seem to think that it has to do with the building.
Yeah, it's another one of them nights, man. I hope you guys are doing good. We cool over here. Again, thank you guys for your patience with my life, man. And just understanding I'm gonna be on when I can be on, right? And man, I was able to, I think the last time I was able to jump on was with Joseph and Devin the other day, and I haven't been able to be on since. Celebrated my anniversary, which was awesome. And you know, all the good things, man. It's always gonna be good. This will be the last week of broadcasting on me and Joseph's personal pages. Then all the broadcasts are going to be centralized on Facebook on the Remnant Daily Proverb 24/3 page. So go ahead and follow that page, man. Go follow that page, because the broadcast will not be on me and Joseph's pages after this next week. So come Saturday, there will be no more broadcasts on the personal page. It'll all be centralized to the Remnant Daily Proverb 24/3 page. Y'all, stuff's been wild lately, right? Lots of changes personally, lots of things going on. If you saw the stuff with Chosen and Gabby, Gabby had a whole situation unfold, and praise God that they were able to catch it quickly, and she's on the road to recovery. Everything is straight. Stuff is wild right now, man. Stuff is wild right now. And if it wasn't for the community, if it wasn't for the faith, if it wasn't for who we look to all the time, man, it would be wild right now. Real quick too, Joseph is currently at work. So if you're on Joseph's page, I won't be able to see your comments. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see your comments because Joseph's page isn't public. Apostle George had been letting me know that there's something going on with my page as well. And for some reason, it's not registering as public. I don't know why. but we praise God regardless. So if I don't see your comments, I promise y'all I'm not ignoring you. It's just for whatever reason the comments are not coming through, and that's kind of how it goes. So we just roll with the punches. Also, brand new Kingdom Music merch. Go hit up the store, kingdommusic.org. Go check out the new sweatshirts, the new hoodies, and the new t-shirts. They are fire, especially the maroon one. Man, they look good. They look good. So go hit up the store. And then also, if you want to support the Remnant Ministry, Amazon.com, pull up the Remnant proverb and shirt in the search, and the Remnant shirts will pop up. There's multiple colors in those too. Man, Freddie Fred is coming into contact. Alicia, salute. Freddie Fred is coming into contact with a lot of what I get to see in my field of work, with working with the youth in detention and stuff. And it's very heartbreaking, man, when you come across people that don't care in different lines of work, especially when it comes to working with youth in detention, and especially when it comes to people that need extra caretaking. It is a heartbreaking thing to watch when people don't care, when they're supposed to be giving care, right? Like, it's rough, man. It can change you as a person, especially if you're there to care, and then you see other people that don't. It's rough. It's hard. It takes an immense amount of faith and an immense amount of self-control in order to function properly in those things, right? For me, personal wise, like, the attacks are crazy, laughable at best, right? But it is what it is. Sometimes, man, you're going to come across people that will blame you for certain things going on in their world, or blame you for the way that they handle certain things. They'll try to put it on you, say that you weren't supportive. They'll try to say that you didn't give them good advice. They'll try to say all kinds of things, man. And it doesn't matter how great of a job you do. It doesn't matter if you go above and beyond. It doesn't matter how much help you give. Sometimes they will just flat out tell you that it's all your fault, right? Don't pay attention to it. You keep it pushing. If you did it in excellence, if you walked above reproach in it, if you did everything you possibly could, don't let it affect you. Don't let it get to you. Don't even think that you need to go out and say something or take revenge or do anything, man. Let God handle it. Let it be where it is. Bottom line is, people will not take self-accountability. They won't. Until they're healed, until they're whole, until they fully trust in God, they will not take self-accountability. They will try to pawn it off everywhere else that they can. I've got this in multiple places in my life right now, and it doesn't matter what's been done in the past. It doesn't matter what's been done last week. Everything is still my fault, right? Now, what do I do with that? Do I let it get me down? Do I let it affect how I treat others? Do I put up walls and then start functioning different? No, I continue to function in a place that's above reproach. I continue to stay in the place that I'm at and be who I am. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people say or who they say it to. Number one, me and God knows, right? And number two, the character shows. And even if that person says something to somebody else, people are already going to know, right? It ain't nothing to worry about. It's no big deal. You just keep it pushing, and you don't let it affect the next relationship that you have, right? You keep it in excellence. And it gets hard. I'm not saying it's easy, man. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's what must be done. It's a part of self-denial. There may be stuff inside you that feels like, hey, this person needs to know about themselves. Did you need to know about yourself when you may have done similar things, right? See, we like to take things and we weigh it against how we feel like they should be in the current place that we are. Nah, you weigh it throughout all your experiences. And if it is something that you've done in the past, you better be able to let it go. You better be able to just forgive that person and keep it pushing. You better be able to understand exactly where that person may stand. in one of those things, right? Sometimes there's going to be people that want you to be who you were in the past. There's going to be people that seem to think that you're multiple different people. So since now that you follow God, they're going to seem to think that, well, deep down inside, you're still the person that doesn't follow God, and you still do all this extra stuff that's from the past, right? Whether it's addictions, whether it's activities you partook in, whether it's how you personally feel about stuff. They may try to act like you supposed to still be that person. Y'all, that's a part of walking above reproach, is that you're not a different person in the different situations that you come into. You're not a different person. You're the same person regardless. It doesn't matter if I'm behind a pulpit. It doesn't matter if I'm on this live feed. It doesn't matter if I'm just sitting with my wife. I'm the same person. And I'm going to give you the same answers regardless of what you want to hear. Now, if you don't want to hear the truth when you're asking me something, then you should probably go to somebody else. But I'm not going to tell a lie to make you feel better. I'm not a different person when the doors are closed. I'm the same person that I was when the door was open, when there was all kinds of people, when it was ministry time, as I am when the door is closed and it's just personal time with me and my wife. Y'all, I could tell you right now that sometimes my wife can't stand it either, because she does just want that regular kind of like you know what I mean? The type of answer that a wife might want at a time. But no, I'm the same person whether the door's open or the door's closed. Right? And she knows that. But it doesn't change the fact that it sucks. But it's how it has to be. But now that she knows that, and there's no issue there, right? Because she's expecting it to be that way, because it's not two different people. It's not three different people. It's not four different people. I'm not Bobby at home, and then there's Bobby at work, and then there's Bobby behind the pulpit, and then there's Bobby over here. Nah, Bobby's Bobby. Period. That's it. Like I said, it's a part of walking above reproach. If you're a different person in different places, that's not walking above reproach. That's trying to fit into your circumstance or your category and giving yourself justification in order to function in a way. Nah, it's not how it's supposed to go. And then a lot of people, what do they take out of context is when Paul says the thing about, you know what I mean, be all things to all men, right? Okay, be all things to all men, but that doesn't mean that you start sinning. Jesus didn't do that. He catch people all the time that try to say, well, I'm supposed to be all things to all men. I need to be this way. No, you don't. You can still be what you need to be without walking in sin, without contradicting yourself, without being double-minded. You can still do that. What it is being able to understand and know and not just cast a judgmental word on somebody, but be able to understand and know, like, man, I was here before. I've walked in this path. Dang, I need to have some compassion, but I still need to tell the truth. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about, well, this person's getting high on meth. Let me go ahead and get high on meth, and then I can reach them with Christ. That's not what it is. Oh, well, this person lied, so let me lie to them, and then I can tell them about Christ. That's not what it is. That's not becoming all things for all men. But see, we take that out of context. I've noticed, man, throughout this walk, personally and in other people, I have noticed that we try to take everything we can and find as many excuses and justifications as possible. Ladies, understand this. I'm not attacking y'all, right? I'm not attacking y'all. It's not about an attack on ladies, but it is something that I hear a lot when people start going to the gym, right? And shoot, I even hear it from guys too, but you hear it a little bit more from the ladies. Like, they will talk about ladies' bodies being made different. They will talk about, well, certain things don't work, right? Now, there may be a level of truth to that. However, if you stick to the program, if you do what you know you're supposed to do, if you hit it harder than you've ever hit it before, you're going to see results, right? Like, now switching it over to the guys. I hear about guys when they go to the gym, right? They'd be like, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. Well, is it that it doesn't work, or is it that you are sitting on the bench for 45 minutes and 45 of those minutes are spent being on your phone on Instagram because you took one picture and you had to put filters on it and you sat there for 30 of that 45 minutes, right? And then you did one set and then you say that the gym don't work. See, we try to find as many excuses as we possibly can just to have an excuse. We very rarely find everything we can do that is effective and stick to it. think it's a part of our human condition, man. And it feels better. It feels better to justify and shrug off and push things away, because then instead of feeling accomplished, we can just be a victim. And that victim mentality starts to grow and change and shape us into something that we're not. And then we constantly live in a lie. And then we walk in a way of downcast justifications instead of excellence, truth, and spirit, right? I'm just using the gym as an example, but truth be told, like, I kind of look at people's character at the gym when they go to the gym with me. I'd be like, yo, let's go do this workout, right? And then we go do the workout. I watch if they work out. I watch if they jump into the sets. I watch if they sit there and try to talk. I watch the difference between a conversation that's starting to get great or just starting conversation to waste time. I watch, I pay attention, and then I listen to what they say afterwards. Like if they didn't give me 100% effort and they were more in the way than being a part of the workout, and then they turn around and they're like, man, we hit that hard, right? I'm like, no, you didn't. I mean, I did, but you didn't, right? I watched the pose out. I actually had somebody one time way back 2018, Bobby, who I talk about all the time, that I'm getting back to, right? There was somebody that came to the gym with me. I did my set and I turned around and they were gone, right? And I'm like, what in the world? And then I saw them like way far off. And I just kept watching, and they were just standing there and they were staring at all the girls walking by and stuff. And they just stood there and they just looked at all the girls. And I did my workout and just kept an eye on them. And then at the end of it all, they walked up to me and they were like, man, yeah, that was the best workout ever, bro. Thanks, whatever. And then sure enough, 20 minutes later, I'm tagged in a pose. Me and Bobby hit the gym hard today, blah, 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 yada, yada. See, I'm going to look at your character in that because, number one, you weren't even there when we started working out, right? Number two, you walked over, you were looking at other people, you weren't doing anything. And then number three, you turned around and told everybody, hey, we did this awesome thing together, me and this brother, here we go. Yeah, this is it. Y'all, like, you may feel like that's something small, but that shows character. That shows if you're going to tell the truth. That shows how you view life. Are you making excuses and trying to act like and justify, or are you actually doing life? I do use the gym a little bit to kind of look at people's character, man, because number one, the gym is hard, especially anybody that knows Brian. Like, you can ask Brian about me in the gym. Like, I'm very much, it's not social hour. Like, I'll let you talk. That's fine. But please don't get in my way. And I'm very nice about, if you're in my way, I'm very nice about being like, well, move over, let me get to it. And you can continue talking. I might not give you very many answers because I can't, because I'm tired, I'm sweating, whatever, right? But you can do what you want. Now, if you tell the truth, cool, I'm with it. But if you start telling fibs, if you start telling lies, if you start telling me something that I watched happen and it's not there, and then you do the weirdo type, like, oh, yeah, you're right. You remember when I did, you remember, and that never happened. Like, I'm low-key looking at your character like, huh, okay. And the reason why is because, like I said, the gym is hard. The gym is tough. Most people don't want to do the gym. Most people find a reason to not do the gym, whether it's sitting on the piece of equipment. Well, I'm here. Look, weights, people, blah, blah, blah. Let me take my picture. Bam. I was at the gym. I worked out, and people are okay with that. That's not okay. That's not the truth. If you were sitting there for 45 minutes and only 5 of those minutes was spent doing something, that wasn't going to the gym. That was going to social hour, a photo opportunity. You see what I'm saying? But see, that's how we justify. That's how we twist things up and we act like something's truth when it's not. And then 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later of doing the same thing and there's nothing changed. Much like our sin lives a lot of the time, y'all. Come on, let's start telling some truth. Much like our sin lives a lot of the time. 2, 3, 4 years later of serving Jesus, and there is no change. There is no growth. There is no deeper relationship. There is no advancement in our walk. See, gym, like, you know what I mean? There's something tangible there. But to somebody that says that they follow Christ and the relationship is not tangible, man, it can get bad. It can get ugly. It can get very, very hard, very quickly. And the last thing, no growth, right, Alicia? Oh my goodness, Daniel, what's good, man? Look, all these comments just popped up. Daniel, what's good? Stephanie, what's good? Sister Eminem, what's good, sister? Anthony Camacho, woo, Perla Nunez is in here. Come on, man. Got a lot of people in here, man. Salute to you all. Salute to you all. But, like I said, no growth. And there's always somebody to blame. Oh, the gym doesn't work for me. No, you just weren't really going to the gym. Well, people ostracized me. People didn't teach me. God doesn't talk to me. Oh, so you're the one exclusive one that God doesn't talk to on the face of the earth. That's super weird, right? God was speaking to me about the importance of walking in integrity and holiness as a child of God. Come on, Perla. It's the real. It's the reality. Integrity, right? Because in all honesty, like, here's the thing. There's no such thing as integrity with God because God sees everything. God knows everything. The integrity comes from, are you going to tell your brothers and sisters, or are you going to try to hide it and act like there's nothing going on? God already knows. The integrity piece, the walking above reproach piece, has to do with the community that God intended from the beginning. And are we going to have that? Or are we going to continue to lie? Are we going to have that? Or are we going to continue to make excuses? Are we going to have that? Or are we going to talk about past experiences that have nothing to do with what we're doing now and try to use those as justification to never step into something brand new? Yeah, like I said, man, life right now, for me personally, for the squad that's around me in person, life is crazy. But one thing I can guarantee y'all, God is that much bigger in our lives because of the things that we're facing. And we're going to walk it out in excellence and do it the way that God instructs, man. Because what choice do we have? Are we going to go back to a lifestyle that we already know doesn't work? We're going to go back to the lifestyle that had us not transforming. We're going to go back to the lifestyle that had us in a place of stagnation and sickness and death? Absolutely not. We're going to continue pressing on the excellent path because God never once promised that it was going to be easy. He promised that it was going to be worth it. Hey, we're going to this land that's going to be giants and all kinds of things and things that are going to make you feel like ants. But I got you. Isn't that what he told Israel? Oh man, there's giants in the land. They gonna crush us, said 10 of the 12 spies. And 2 of the spies said, hey, we go in there and we take it over because that's what God says. So what if there's giants? God said he's got us. Let's go. And the people believed the 10 and they stayed in justification, right? They stayed in the land of the dead. Not only did they stay in the land of the dead, not only did they not grow, they went back. They wanted to go back. They constantly said, we should have stayed in Egypt. We should have just stayed there. We should have been this. We should have been that. Nah, what you should have did was move forward and listen to Joshua and Caleb and went into the land because God had already delivered it to you, right? Now, we could talk about the Old Testament people all day because we know the end of the story, but how many of us do the same thing that they do just because we don't have a clear picture of full trust and belief in God? We can't even say that we have a mustard seed worth. That integrity, right, Perla? That not ever wanting to go back, right, Alicia? Right, Sabrina? Come on, Daniel. You're gonna need that second opinion. Let me see what the Father has to say. Oh, that's what you said? All right, cool. We're gonna deal with that. My wife just came into finding out some stuff with her mom too, right? Like, y'all, September has been wild. I don't know about y'all, but I know for us it's been wild. But I've been saying it for months that September was coming and there was gonna be some things happening. Are we walking with God or are we not? We are going to find out very, very quickly. We're going to find out if we truly have trust and belief or if it is just smoke and mirrors, no integrity, and no kinds of walking above reproach. And right when the stuff hits us, it is going to show if God is in control of our lives and we fully trust him and believe in what he says, or if we believe in our own strength And if we're going to turn around and be like, well, skip that guy because I didn't sign up for this. I'm going to go back over here because I signed up for an easy life worth living that you said was going to be there, and it's not there. That God never said it was an easy life. He did say that it was worth living. What did he say? My yoke is easy, my burden is light. That's wild. But see, one of the other things that we don't take accountability for, God's burden is light, his yoke is easy. But what about the many things that we brought as baggage that we're unwilling to let go of, and then we sit there and say, God, you're asking for too much. All we're doing is trying to hold on to that thing that makes us us. We don't even understand our identity. We're going to hold on to the thing that makes us us. No, I can't let that go. Lord, you're just making this too hard. This needs to stay in my life when God didn't want it for you. A matter of fact, it's killing you. But you want to hold on to it instead of hold on to God. You want to grab onto the tassels of that instead of the tassels of the Almighty healer, the Almighty provider, the Almighty creator that created you for something better. You'd rather hold on to the tassels of something that's killing you and follow that, right? Like, y'all, it's that time. We have to face these things. We have to face those things. And those that wait on the Lord will not grow weary. Sometimes we want to move on our own understanding instead of his timing. Come on our own understanding instead of his timing, right? Like, y'all, my situation that I was telling y'all about, and I was hoping for the change, it hasn't happened yet. But one of the most awesome things that I found out is that I'm next on deck, right? So what do? Do I get mad? Do I quit my job? Do I sit there and hold still and don't do anything and just be like, well, that new one's coming. That new opportunity's coming. I'm going to just quit my job and I'm going to just sit here and I'm going to wait for that new opportunity? Or do I continue in excellence in the place that I'm at until the opportunity arises? Of course, I'm going to continue where I'm at until the opportunity arises. What would have happened if Joseph wouldn't have been in excellence when he went into slavery? What would have happened when Joseph wouldn't have been in excellence when he was in prison? What would have happened if Joseph wouldn't have had his faith in God when Pharaoh called him out of that? What would have happened? Y'all, so many of us walk away from what God's got planned because we want to be in our own understanding instead of understanding, number one, a lot of the reasons why we're in situations that we're in is because we put ourselves there, and it's the natural consequence of what we chose to do. Number two, that God, though he saved us from our sin, the consequence will likely still be there. And I say likely still be there because I've had situations where the consequences went away. But I'm not going to bank on that. The consequence will likely be there. Never walk into anything without thinking about the consequence for my actions when I move in my own understanding. Me moving in my own understanding every time will always take me to a place of divorce or prison. Every single time. But when I stand on God's word and I move the way that God instructs and I move the way that God tells me to, man, oh man, this stuff get better. Man, oh man, this stuff get good. Man, oh man, do I go, whoo, I'm glad I listened to you. I'm an HR supervisor and I walk with integrity at work, at home, and in my walk. I know you do, Alicia. Praise God for that, straight up. And I bet you people can see it too. Lori was good. Abdel was good. No Blemish Ministry. Jesus is Lord. Hallelujah. Come on, man. Look, if you are facing the many things that many believers are facing right now, and you truly trust and believe in God, I remember Gospel Ready. My boy, my guy, man, I love you to life, bro. Love you to life. If you trust and believe in God, lean in on that even more right now. Lean in on that until the end of the year and do it even better next year. Y'all, so much is going on within personal lives, let alone the stuff that you're going to see. Don't be one that is knocked off and deceived because you are not in a personal relationship with God. Don't be the one that's knocked off and bumped off because you decided to wait for your favorite evangelist, your favorite preacher, your favorite pastor to take a stage, and you walked away from your relationship with God every single time because you don't want to make your own meal. Don't be the one that is found sleeping when you need to be awake with your canister full of oil. And I'm not saying that Jesus is coming right now. What I'm saying is, if your canister is low on oil, you gonna be having a very, very hard time throughout this little bit. You need that canister full of oil this entire time. You do not need your flame going out. You do not need your flame smoldering, because if your flame goes smoldering, you will likely go to another source instead of staying in the source. Christ says that he will not put out even a smoldering wick. But a lot of us just call it quits and walk away because we feel like God's not there anymore. And the only way that you're going to be able to stay is if your canister is full of oil and you're ready, and you already know that when the time is right, God will go ahead and ignite that again. But he will make sure that it fans so that even that smoldering little bit has some heat, right? Stay there. Stay with God. Stay walking with God. I mean, y'all are already seen it with this. Like, y'all, I can't believe the type of stuff that is happening in my life personally, that this commitment that I thought was going to be every single day again is now to a place that's so sporadic that I'm just like, man, and please trust and believe. I be feeling bad when I don't get on here. I do. I really, really do. Sometimes it bothers me all through the night. But then God's like, did I tell you to do that? Or did I tell you to tell them a message, which was, if you're not on here, you better get into the word yourself. Y'all, let me tell you one last thing that had me break down in tears at our Saturday service this last Saturday. So in this transition, in all this stuff, Apostle George, oh my goodness, Brother Joseph West, man, I love you to life. And I know I still haven't called you, man. Work, everything has been wild. It's been so wild, man. I gotta give you a call. It's probably gonna be one of our 2-3 hour conversations because you got a lot to catch up on. So in this transitional moment, man, in this new season, I'm looking to move. I don't know when, but I know where. But I don't know when, but I know where. And it's not Texas. And unfortunately for my Idaho people, it's not Idaho either. It's going to be in the middle of nowhere in Arizona. In the middle of nowhere in Arizona. And there are some beautiful things that are in the plans, right? But man, my number one thing is my homeless ministry out here. It's been crushing me. It's been killing me. And as we've been discussing it as the ministry, Chosen said, like, somebody's going to come along and they're going to be able to take care of this. And I was like, it's not going to be anytime soon. I'm going to just make sure to get a car that I can drive all the way up from Arizona, right? And he was like, nah, bro, somebody's going to come, right? So we get out to our service on Saturday. And I've told you guys about the dude that just pops up. He just pops up, and every time he pops up, he gives me a word from God, and it's always on point. It's always on point. I don't ever see this dude except for when he pops up just to give me a word. And he's been popping up for a little bit now, and then I've been gone for like 3 weeks. And then he was there this Saturday, and I could tell he had something to tell me, but he wasn't trying to mess anything up, right? And when I was over praising and I was praising God, I opened my eyes and he was standing right in front of me. And like, all respect, man, like he's just standing back, just letting me have my moment with the Father. And I opened my eyes and I was like, man, what's up, man? What's good? And he shook my hand. He gave me a hug and he was like, you're leaving. And I was like, not like that. And he was like, no, but it's time for you to prepare to leave. And I was like, yeah, but I love this. This is the hardest part. Like, I don't want to leave this. And my dude says, you know, the last 3 weeks since you were gone, I knew you were going to be gone. So I grabbed up some people. We put what money together that we could. We made meals and we came out here. We preached, we served, we encouraged. And God told me that you got to go. And then it was time for me to start stepping up and start doing these things so that you could go, because when you go, when you come back, it's going to be that much better for the rest of us. Don't worry about it. It's covered. If you're here, we already know it's good. If you're not here, don't even worry about it because it's covered. Y'all, mess me up. I don't think I've cried out there like that in a minute. Not like that. I always get super in that place when I'm praising, but like that right there, talk about one of many things off my plate to even think about, right? And it's right in the middle of everything that's going on and preparing to get ready to leave where I call home to prepare for something so much greater that's going to bring that much better for what I call home. And I ain't told nobody. Like, I ain't even really told y'all on here much about things that are going on. And it just blew my mind, right? But that's what I love about God. I said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it over and over and over again. God's love is always brand new. It never gets stale. It never gets old. You never get used to it. And I get reminded of that daily. Make the choice. Follow the Father. Watch him blow your mind regularly. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother Joseph. God's plan will succeed all the time. Alicia, man, I love Idaho. Don't get it twisted. I love Idaho. The Nampa area is like a second home to me. And there's so many people that I love over there. And man, but I got called into the middle of nowhere. And like I said, the plans that are there for that middle of nowhere, like I can't wait to start sharing them all with y'all because it's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And the pieces are already falling together and it's tripping me out. But there's a few things that have to happen before it can happen. So I'm going to be staying put for a minute. You know what I mean? And I know that once everything does start moving in that direction, it's going to happen fast because ministry doesn't stop, right? It's not going to take us out for however long. It's literally going to be like, shoot, okay, we got it. All right, go. Here we go. And we're just going to hit the ground running, right? So, man, y'all, I'm going to keep y'all lifted. But choose God. Choose God. He's never going to mislead you. He's never going to take you to some place you're not supposed to be. Hello, my friend Richie. He is never going to take you someplace you're not supposed to be. Just trust him. Yeah, I know it's hard. Yeah, I know it's tough to let go of those last little bits of yourself, but I promise you it's worth it. Once that part of you dies, everything starts to work out. So let's get into this proverb. I'm going to let you guys have your night back because I am dog tired, man, and we're going to get it in tomorrow as well. I'm hoping and praying that I have a smooth night at work because I want to do the Proverbs tomorrow night too. So let's see what happens, but let's get into this one. Welcome to the Remnant. Yeah, Richie, come on. Woo! Yeah. Don't be envious of evil people and don't desire to be with them, for their minds are occupied with violence and their lips speak of making trouble. Don't envy people that were doing what you were once doing. Don't even envy your past. If you are comparing your past without Christ to your now with Christ and you're going, oh man, I wish I could. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. It's time to check it. It's time to ask yourself, why? Why would you ever want a life without Christ more than a life with Christ? Do not envy those times. Don't envy those people. Don't be the type of person that looks at how somebody acts and acts wild, right? They act wild. They spit at somebody's face. They poke their eye. And you be like, man, I wish I could do that. Don't be that person, man. Because what does it say? It says their minds are occupied with violence. Right? What does violence look like? And I know a lot of us be always thinking about swords and battle axes. Nah, man, a life of violence is simply taking away somebody's joy, taking away somebody's peace, taking away somebody's happiness. God bless you, Sister Alicia. Straight up. God bless you. Mendez, don't be peeking through your fingers, man. You keep your eyes closed during the prayer time. Keep your eyes closed. Don't be peeking. Look, it's not always battle axes, punches, and kicks. Violence is simply taking away somebody's happiness. Now, you are not supposed to give people the ability to take away your joy. That's what all that means. Laugh even when the gray clouds hang low. It was a reminder to myself to never let somebody take my joy because it's not theirs to take. However, and unfortunately, a lot of us haven't learned that. So when we try to take away somebody's joy, we try to take away somebody's happiness, we try to call somebody outside their name and give them an identity they do not have. That is violence. Y'all know what shalom means? Y'all know what shalom means? The broken down word shalom. Do you know what it means? Most people say shalom is peace, right? Which it is. But the breakdown of the word, it is to war against the doctrine of chaos. If you war against the doctrine of chaos, you generate peace, right? The violent take it by force. When you try to take somebody out of their character, that is violence. And when you try to convince somebody of their character in God, sometimes it's got to be taken by violence. Sometimes you got to call that thing out. You got to put them where they belong, right in front of the Father, right? Do not cause violence. Don't speak of making trouble. Don't envy that old lifestyle. Be enamored, be captivated, be captured by the lifestyle of walking with God. And if you have those things that you wish you could do, it's time to start asking yourself why you feel like you wish to do those things still. It asked Freddie Fred all about that. Freddie Fred completely turned his back on the things that he was doing before into the life that he's walking now. And to tell you that Freddie Fred's outer appearance is different is an understatement. That dude is a completely different person than I met 2 years ago. And I love walking this walk with him. I was going to actually have him on this broadcast if he wouldn't have been at work. By wisdom, a house is built. By understanding, it is made secure. And by knowledge, its rooms are filled with all kinds of costly and pleasant possessions. What are those costly and pleasant possessions? Relationships. Relationships. When you come to the knowledge of how God wanted things to function, you understand that rooms are filled with relationships. Rooms in you are filled with the care that you have for the people that God brings around you. And if we could all embrace that, there would be so much less bickering, falling all over, stumbling all over, hurting one another and hurting ourselves. The rooms are filled with costly and pleasant possessions because we understand and realize it's about relationships in this kingdom. It's about how many of our brothers and sisters are going to go home and celebrate, and how many we are going to uplift and edify and bring into the Father's presence, because he sent us out to do it. What are we going to do with that? A wise man is strong. Yes, a man of knowledge grows in strength, for with clever strategy, you wage your war, and victory comes from having many advisors. And there we go again, talking about relationships. You can't have an advisor if there's not a relationship in it. Ain't nobody going to give me no advice if they are not in a relationship with me, if they don't know me. I can't, because there's too many people that be brainiac and think that they know all kinds of things and won't even listen to what you're saying fully. They just got to open their mouth and say all kinds of stuff to you. That's not a relationship. That's probably somebody that's never going to give you advice. An advisor is somebody that you have a relationship with that knows the ins and outs of your life, that you're completely open with and open to. How in the world is somebody supposed to give you advice if you ain't let them know nothing about your life? Can't give advice to somebody if you don't know how they function, how they walk. You don't tell somebody, hey, you need to go and talk to them if they blow their lid anytime somebody says no, right? But if you have a relationship with them, you know that, so you can give them good advice. Hey, maybe we need to sit down on this for a couple of days and get you to understand that they're probably going to tell you no, and let's work on your reaction to that. See, that's advice. But you don't tell somebody to go talk to somebody when they flip out, when they hear no. You don't know nothing about them. Oh, just go and ask them and everything's going to be okay. No, bam, somebody got a black eye. That wasn't good advice, right? It takes relationship in order to have advice. In order to have a good advisor, they got to know your life and you got to trust them, and you can't have walls up. Golly, this walk is about relationships. What's good, Luis? Wisdom is too lofty for a fool. He keeps his mouth shut at the city gate. Hey, and you've seen what that other proverb says too, right? That a fool is even thought wise when he keeps his mouth shut. So if wisdom is too lofty for a fool and he keeps his mouth shut at the city gate, that fool can probably learn some things, man. Could probably learn some things. If I see a foolish person and they know when to keep their mouth shut, probably gonna talk to him a little bit more. Probably gonna give him a little bit of a chance. One of my kids, man, I'm so proud of this dude. Right? He's about to be 18. He's made some very bad choices this time, and everybody kind of trips out because they're like, he doesn't act like this, right? This time, he's got it figured out. Now, at the drop of a hat, he still says some dumb stuff, but he's got it figured out. He was actually giving advice to one of the other kids that calls him big homie, right? Gave him advice. Hey, keep your head down. Keep your chin tucked. Do as you're asked and get out of this stuff. If they tell you that they know something, they know. Don't try to make an excuse and stop with the stupid, oh, I'm going to stick to my story and everything is going to be fine. No, they know. Keep your chin tucked. Do what you're supposed to and get out of here. Don't be in this anymore. And then the other kid was like, well, what are you going to do? The same thing. I'm tired and I don't want to be here anymore. I fought this system all the way up until I'm almost 18 and I've been here since I was 9. Common denominator is me. And what do I find myself doing? Making excuses, sticking to my story and getting in trouble. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm going to do it this other way. I'm going to stop smashing my face on the wall and I'm going to watch myself get to where I know I'm supposed to be. And then this dude goes and tells me that he has been to the park services and that we've given him food and that he's been around. And he said that he's going to be back when he gets out and he wants to serve. I was like, man, come on. I'm just saying. Some communication will be nice so we know the heart of our leaders. There's always supposed to be communication, Stephanie. Always supposed to be communication. Jesus communicated with the disciples all the time. Who in the world, what kind of leader doesn't communicate with people? And I'm talking about a true leader. I'm not talking about somebody that we want to be our leader, right? A true leader. Somebody that's in person, somebody that does life with, somebody that walks with, somebody that talks with, somebody that sees us in the flesh, right? So that we know exactly what's going on. See, this is the thing that gets kind of twisted up in the social media realm, right? With social media, if you're trying to find discipleship a lot of the time, and this is why the Kingdom Music discipleship requires you to have a home church. This is exactly why they require you to have a home church. Y'all, once again, this is why we require to have a home church, because people can pretend on social media. People can act like there's nothing going on social media, but you knock on somebody's door, they open the door and they see you standing there, then all of a sudden, and then they want to say that it's everybody else's fault, right? Goes right back to the justification thing. Communication is always supposed to happen with leaders. They're supposed to know what's going on. They're supposed to be able to sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, have a meal, make sure that you're okay. Y'all, that's what our Wednesdays is all about, is everybody coming together and talking about life. Now, the people that have left that, now there's some people that just can't make it because of life, right? Because of work schedules, because of whatever. Then there's the people that don't show up because it's too personal and they don't want everybody involved in their business. And then they say things like, oh, well, that's not church business. Yeah, it is. We're supposed to do life together. We're supposed to know what's going on. We're supposed to talk. We're supposed to know. We're supposed to hold accountable. We're supposed to grow. That's the type of judgment that we do. And it's not judgment of, hey, you're filthy, get out of here. It's judgment of, hey, I want to walk with you. I want to talk with you. I want to help you. I want you to grow. I want you to get out of this. That's what it's all about. But instead, what we want to do is close the door. Don't show nobody. Want to act like everybody should know and blame everybody else for what we're going through and not have any personal relationships. Oh, please understand, y'all. I had some word get back to me. Hoo-wee. And so I sent a message and I was like, so this is what it is. This is the new lie. Of course, there's no response. Because they were one of the people that this was getting too close. This was getting too real, right? And they left. Brother Z was in town at a church in my city, looking forward to it. That's what's up. Get in there. Do what it do. And then stay plugged into that church, sis. Stay plugged into that church. You're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to do some bouncing around until you find the one that's for you. God will lead you there. God will take you to it. I know you mention Victory Outreach all the time. Well, let's get into some Victory Outreach. I know I seen you on Pastor Gerald Weathers. Are you, well, I don't know if you're in Sacramento or not. I know Gerald Weathers, great leader, awesome leader. One of the few that I respect a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I'm sure maybe host a thing. If you're plugged in with some people, maybe host a thing. Have people come by, say what's up. Start a Bible study at your house. Open your house up to the people that you love, right? The people that you're growing with. Whatever it takes to have people around you. You know what I mean? I know it can get tough. I know it can get hard, especially when it's just you and you have all your kids and everything. I know it can get hard. Bring people in. You know what I mean? VOI. Come on. Come on. Let's get it. He who plans to do evil, people call a schemer. Don't be a schemer. Don't plan to do evil. Plan to do good. Plan to do excellent. Plan to do awesomeness. Plan to do kingdom things. Plan to open your mouth and build people up and not tear them down. Plan to be the light in your city. Don't make evil plans. Don't scheme. If you slack on a day of distress, your strength is small indeed. Y'all, this right here is what almost every believer don't want to hear. Almost every believer don't want to hear this. If you slack on a day of distress, your strength is small indeed. There's even a translation that says, if you fall off of your faith, there was not much to you anyway. But nobody wants to hear that. It's everybody else's fault. No, it has nothing to do with my trust and belief in God. It's everybody else's fault because nobody wants to stand with me. Nobody wants to walk with me. Nobody wants to talk with me. God is always wanting to talk. God is always wanting to walk. God's word was left here for us to have a deeper relationship with him. And so many of us will not do it. So many of us want to blame everybody else and don't have a real relationship with God. Don't even have a real relationship with people. We're just looking for everybody that we can step on, kick down, and make sure that they're to blame with what we do to ourselves. If you slack on the day of distress, your strength was small indeed. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to tell you. My wife's mom has cancer. Am I going to slack off? Nope. Am I going to continue telling her about God? Yep. Am I going to continue loving her? Yep. Is my wife going to do the same? Yep. Matter of fact, my wife has been around her mom more than she has in the last 5 years. I felt terrible because I found out that the last time I was around my mother-in-law was almost a year ago. Right? Am I going to slack off? Nope. You gonna see me change? Nope. You're gonna watch me come on here and be like, Lord, if you don't, I'm gonna lose my faith and walk away from. Nope. Mind you, my mother-in-law has been more of a parent to me than my parents are. Same with my ex-wife's parents. That's the only kind of parenting I know at all. I don't understand it. But they're the only ones that ever loved me like parents did. You think that no, I'm not. Because what's it going to do? Nothing. So y'all, if you come on here, you hear my passionate rant and all this, that, and the other, and if you think that there is not stuff going on in my personal life, you are dead wrong. That's just a small piece of what's going on in my personal life. Let alone the attacks on my character, the attacks on my people's character, the attack on what we do as a ministry, the fact that I'm blackballed in every single organization out here because of something that happened years ago that had nothing to do with me. If you think my life is peaches and cream, you're dead wrong. My life is rough, but I'ma still praise God. Do not be the one that slacks off on a day of distress, because that's something that you have to face if you do. And you have to realize there was not much to your trust and belief. What's good, Robbie? Salute, man. This is one of those things that a lot of people don't want to hear. But right now, y'all, Kamal that comes in here, Sister Kamal, she lives in Pakistan. She gets on here. She praises God. She's going to Bible school. She's doing all these things that could wind her up dead. I'm not going to say it because I'm not at liberty to say. I just found out about it. I'm not at liberty to say. What I will say is that Sister Kamal, she comes in here, she comments every once in a while. She lives in Pakistan and she's pursuing a lifestyle that puts her life at risk every single day. We say stuff like that, but we are too afraid to talk about God in our jobs. Talk about we're going to go to another country that we can lose our life over, but we won't even risk getting in trouble by HR at our job. You kidding me, man? But this is the type of belief system that we have here in America. Yo, like I said, who I am here, who I am when this camera goes off, who I am at my house, who I am when I hit my door, who I am when I go to work, it is the same person, and I will scream about Christ all day, every day. But so many of us say that we have this big, gigantic, everything faith, and we're afraid of the powers that be. Like, y'all, I just found out that I'm, for the fourth time, in a position that requires a degree. I had no idea until we just got some other people that work with us, and they said, yeah, we're going to get promoted to the right position, the position that actually pays once we graduate from college, because it's one of the requirements. I was like, oh, shoot, that's job number 4. No degree, and I got it, right? Shoot, the other one, can't even tell y'all how many credentials I should have to have that one, right? And I'm next on deck. You cannot tell me that God will not move in the impossible. Nobody can tell me that, because I watch God move in the impossible every time I punch in at my job. I watch God move in the impossible every time I get on here and I speak to y'all. I watch God move in the impossible when we go out to the park, and where everybody would say, nah, man, ain't nobody listening. And then all of a sudden somebody's face is full of tears and they find their identity in Christ and they ask questions, and then I never see them again. And I'm like, I know God's got them. Don't slack off in a day of distress. Don't slack off when things don't look the way that you want them to. Don't slack off when you're not getting the answer that you seem to think that you deserve. God's will, God's way is perfect. Don't be the one that gets caught up in this stuff that is coming on the horizon, and then you are found to be a tare instead of a wheat. Don't act surprised when it happens. It's time for that self-reflection, man. Again, this is one of those scriptures that nobody wants to look at, but it's one of the realest scriptures that you can really look at. Yes, rescue those being dragged off to death. Won't you save those about to be killed? If you say we knew nothing about it, won't he who weighs the hearts discern it? Yes, he who guards you will know it, and repay each one as his deeds deserve. Yo, do you know how many people I hear on a regular basis say, well, I didn't feel led? You didn't feel led? Nah. Then why were you the one that brought the person up? Why were you the one that patted me on the shoulder and said, hey, maybe you should go talk to them? What do you mean you didn't feel led? You saw them before I did. Y'all, again, we try to justify so many things. And right here, we knew nothing about it. Won't he who weighs hearts discern it? You really want to be standing in front of the Father when the Father wants you to give account for the souls, for the people that you were entrusted with, the people that he brought into your life to shine his light on, to bring to his throne room. You really going to stand there and say, I didn't know anything about it? Well, you know full well. I told the story about when I was supposed to give the $20 to the people, right? Talked myself out of it and got plucked in the head the rest of the way. Never done that again. Never done that again. Because I decided I will never say, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't feel led ever again. You know what I mean? Come on, Brother Joseph. Come on, man. Hey. I love it. Get a pencil, then look at the lead in it. There you go. Dan Moeller says you go to the little tackle shop. Every town got a tackle shop. You go to the tackle shop. You go right to the counter. You don't even have to walk around the shop. Just go right to the counter, and there's always these little trees, and there's a bunch of stuff in there. You reach into the tree thing, the little bowl, and it has a bunch of black stuff in it. Grab a handful of those and throw them across the counter and be like, I just want to buy all these. And it'll come up to be about $5 at the most. house, depending on how big your hands are, and then put one of those in each one of your pants pockets. And right when you need to feel lead, reach into your pants pocket, and then you can touch lead and then go do what you know you're supposed to do. Don't talk yourself out of doing what you know God has sent you to do. Especially if you're the only one that saw somebody that you go to your entire group of people and be like, hey, I don't feel led to, but there's somebody over there that I saw that God, I think, needs to talk to God, but he didn't lead me to do it. Nah, go out there and do it. Just be you. You were the perfect one at the perfect time, and it was God's perfect plan for you to go and have that conversation. My bro, Fred, did that with somebody. He took him a plate of food. The person wouldn't even look up. He took him a plate of food. They started eating. Fred went to get up, and then he was just like, nah, you know what? Is it cool if I sit with you? I'm going to go make me a plate. I'm going to come back and sit. I'm going to sit with you. And the person was like, whatever you want to do. And so he went back over there, right? And he sat down, right? This dude was a part of those services for like 2 years straight and was a big part of everything. And Fred had no idea that this dude was in a bad way and needed that moment of Fred just sitting beside him and eating with him. This is literally the first day that Fred came out to the services. That dude had been there 5 times prior, but felt like I was going to tell him to get away from me because he decided to get high. And I don't. That's not how I am. It's not me. Fred, in being obedient, instructed him to do, went and sat and ate his food with the dude after he served him. And that's what brought the dude back when he became sober. And all Fred did was sit with him. He didn't even talk to him. He just sat with him. God will send you at the perfect appointed time. Don't sit there and say you didn't know about it. If you notice and you instantly go, I should say, then say it. Do it. Go ahead. Exercise a little bit of your spiritual gift, and man, exercise and listening to the voice of God. Jennifer, salute. Watch what happens. It'll change your life, I promise you. And then you'll find yourself justifying less and being obedient more. Obedience is better than sacrifice in this walk. Always remember that. My son, eat honey, for it is good. Honeycomb drippings are sweet to your taste. Know that wisdom is similarly sweet to your soul. If you find it, then you will have a future. What you hope for will not be cut off. When you start to walk with God, the way that your heart posture is starts to change. Things that you once hoped for, you'll find are futile and inconsequential. Then you'll start to walk in the way that God has instructed you to. And then, again, it's crazy because 15 years after I had wanted a vehicle so bad, y'all. And it's a Kia Soul. It's what I drive today. 15 years later, God brought me a Kia Soul. I'd all but forgotten how bad my desire was for one. And he brought me one. I'm driving it around, and then he brought it all back to remembrance 15 years later. Like, he will give you some of those things if they were wholesome and they were awesome and it was his intention, right? But as your heart posture changes and you start to lean in more towards God, you will find that a lot of things that you once hoped for, you no longer care about, and you start pressing in for God's hopes. But then there are those certain things that you may have let go of in the past that he will bring back to you. Like, in the way that he did it, man, I was literally driving. It was the third day I had my Kia Soul. And the wildest part about it, I've had 2 Kia Souls from the same dealership. The cars that go to this dealership are never in this condition. Both of my Kia Souls are in perfect condition and low mileage for the years they were. And I'm driving the first one. And God goes, I give my children the desires of their heart. And I was like, I know. And he's like, no, son, I give my children desires of their heart. And I was like, Dad, I know. And then he flooded it all back in. And he said, I give my children the desires of their heart. See, messing me up just thinking about it, right? But that's how intimate the relationship is with God. He doesn't forget, man. And there are those things that we have to correct within ourselves. But then there are those things that we once hoped for that are actually a part of the plan. And he will bring it back to fruition. I promise y'all. Even when you have to kill off so much of yourself that it hurts, things that we're hoped for will not be cut off. It will be just an amazing thing, man. Don't lurk like an outlaw near the home of the righteous. Don't raid the place where he lives. For though he falls 7 times, he will get up again. It's the wicked who fail under stress. Y'all, this right here, for those of y'all that may be going through similar things that I am, with people lying on you straight up, with people being super weird, with people that know the entirety of a situation and a scenario, and then will turn around and throw you under the bus and act like you didn't do what you were supposed to do. This is for them. That's them lurking like an outlaw near the home of the righteous. When they bold-faced lying about stuff, right? That's them lurking near the home of the righteous. That's them trying to take something that's not theirs. That's them trying to act like they deserve something more than somebody else. That's wickedness. That's violence, right? If you walk in righteousness, it doesn't mean holiness. Righteousness is the ability to accept correction, apply it in your life, and walk in the excellence thereof. That means that if you fall, you will get up, dust off, and go again, but do it the right way the next time. That is righteousness. Righteousness is not holiness, because if righteousness was holiness, you would not fall. Righteousness is the ability to accept correction and apply it and walk in the excellence of it, right? That's what righteous people do. Those that follow God walk in obedience. Oops, I fell. Let me get up. Let me try it again, and let me do it God's way, because I know how to do it now. It's the wicked that will fail under stress. It's the wicked that will need to continue to lie. It's the wicked that cannot tell the truth. It's the wicked that will do these weird things and try to cover up their tracks. It's the wicked that will constantly spin webs of lies that will eventually catch them up in it. Don't be in wickedness. Be in righteousness. Admit when you're wrong. Stand up, dust off, try again. That's righteousness, man. Righteousness is not holiness. Always remember that, y'all. Always remember that. Don't rejoice when your enemy falls. Don't let your heart be glad when he stumbles, for Adonai might see it, and it would displease him. He might withdraw his anger from your foe. Some translations add and turn it to you, the greater offender, right? Like, y'all, we don't rejoice in the downfall of people. It may be frustrating as all get out, but we don't rejoice in the downfall of other people. We don't rejoice in the sufferings of others. We don't rejoice when somebody gets what they deserve. We don't. It should hurt. It should. I had a whole situation the other day, man. The whole situation the other day that I was angry about. Angry about to the point that, and I might have told y'all this, but I was angry to the point that I wanted to go to the person's house, right? And God corrected me, literally corrected me. And I remember telling somebody, how do I have compassion for this? How is it possible for me to have compassion for this? Right? And it was along the lines of somebody losing their faith. And if their consequences weren't taken away, they were going to walk away from God. And I told Chosen, I was talking to Chosen. I was like, how am I supposed to have compassion for this, man? There's no way I can have compassion for this. This is some wild stuff. And the way that God corrected me, man, and it was in 2 Samuel chapter 17 that God corrected me in it. It wasn't about having compassion for the person between me and them. It was about having compassion for what the person was putting themselves into with God. That completely changed it all. That brought me to a place of, because literally this, I don't ever rejoice in my enemy's downfall. And when my enemy is face to face with God, me as a Christ follower, that better be in God's presence, saying, God, soften their heart. God, give them more time. God, give them understanding. God, don't be impatient with them. God, don't carry out what you got. God, just give them more time. God, show them more. God, give me the words to tell them so that they walk in the excellence. It wasn't about the compassion between me and that person. It was me having the compassion to understand that that person has literally chosen to stand face to face, toe to toe with God, thinking that they're just as big and don't even understand that they're looking at a hair follicle on God's leg. You hear what I'm saying? We do not rejoice in the downfalls of our enemies. We do not have a just desserts moments over our enemies being hurt. We should always have that understanding. Number one, that we were once there. And number two, that our enemies are literally fighting against God when they are going against God's people. And who can withstand God? Nobody. This is why I say, man, we be all about that drama. We love the dramatization of stuff. God doesn't need to fight. He is. If he speaks it, it happens. If he stops speaking it, it dies. There's no fighting for God. It's just what our human minds can comprehend. You understand? And we better know that if our enemies are battling with us, their opponent is God, not us. So that took me to the place to understand that I did have to have compassion, and it had to be between that person and God, not necessarily between me and that person. But as I've been praying for God to be more patient, there's more compassion towards that person, and that ugly thing is gone, right? So come on, man. You got to get this the right way. Don't get upset because of evildoers. Don't be envious of the wicked. For the evil person has no future. The lamp of the wicked will go out. Illustration time, because the Bible is very on point about what it says. The lamp of the wicked goes out back in those days when they had lamps, right? They did not blow out the wick because their wick technology was terrible. If you blew out wicks back then, the wick would be gone. If you know candle people will always tell you, don't blow out my candle. Put it out. Put the lid on. Let it go out itself. Put the lid on the candle. Watch the flame slowly go away. Why? Because the flame suffocates, because it burns out all the oxygen. And that's exactly what would happen in the lamps in those days. They'd close the shutter and the lamp would slowly suffocate because it would burn all the air out. The lamp of the wicked will go out. That's not talking about something small. That's literally talking about it's going to be a difficult, slow, painful thing when that light goes out. Do you understand now, much more when people's opponent is God, that we had better have the compassion as followers of God to pray on the behalf of that person and say, Lord, give them a softened heart. Lord, touch their mind more. Lord, do not carry your wrath out on them. Bring them closer to you so that they can become a restored child. Father God, please do not put their light out. The follower of Christ would never want another human being to become encountered with the wrath of God, man. And if you think that that's okay, might be time for you to kind of start checking yourself. What did Lot do with Sodom and Gomorrah? If there's one righteous person, sorry, Abram, there's one righteous person. If there's 20, if there's 50, right? We went from backwards. If there's 500 righteous people, well, then I won't destroy the city. If there's 400, then I won't 30, then I won't 1. You see Abraham's heart posture in that? If there's one righteous person, please, Father, don't destroy the city. Sometimes I wonder if we really do follow God, man, because sometimes those of us that say that we do, we can be so cruel to people. Got that sneer, I forgive you. Right? You might as well spit in their face. You don't even care about forgiving them. You just want to act like you're better, right? Sometimes I wonder if we as believers actually know who we follow. And are we able to understand that, man, that person is literally going to a place where things could go so bad. Father God, give me the words to change their mind. Father God, give me the words to give them in order to soften their heart. Father God, give me the courage to bring them into your presence so I can watch their life be changed and for them to stop going down that path. I don't think y'all even understand how much it hurts when I deal with these youth, when I deal with these homeless, when I even deal with people within the body that don't get it and they don't understand. And they're walking in a way that is going to have their lamp put out. We should never be okay with that. We should be doing everything we can to be the person that brings them into God's presence. Let bygones be bygones, man. Come on. My son, don't get involved with revolutionaries, but fear Adonai and the king, for disaster from them will suddenly appear, and who knows what ruin they can both cause. We already know, man, God can destroy the body and the soul. If God stops talking, somebody, gone, right? Not just people incarcerated, but people walking the streets. Straight up, man. One of my kids told me something the other day, man, and it hurt. It hurt so bad. He said, I'm so tired of everybody feeling like this is all I deserve. That happened so long ago. I'm so different now. And he is. Super different kid, man. But people just constantly tell him that that's all he's worth. Hurt my soul, man. Like straight up. These also are the sayings of the wise. Showing partiality and judgment is not good. He who tells the guilty you are innocent will be cursed by people, reviled by nations. But with those who condemn him, things will go well and a good blessing will become upon them. We always move in justice, man. Justice. Me and my wife shed some tears because of how many souls are lost. Come on now. That should be the heart posture of anybody that says that they're a child of God. That should be their heart posture. That should be all of our heart posture. If we say that we're a child of God, we should be shedding some tears over some lost people, man. Even the ones that come against us. Like, straight up. Giving an honest answer is like giving a kiss. Always give an honest answer, man. Always give an honest answer. Prepare your outside work and get things ready for yourself on the land. After that, build your house. This right here, this is for anybody who is younger and not married yet. This is for anybody who's getting out of high school, preparing for life. This is for anybody. This is a word of wisdom. Your outside work is talking about your career. It's talking about what you're going to do. It's talking about putting your business together. It's talking about climbing that corporate ladder. It's talking about getting things into proper perspective and be prepared first. And then get married and start building your family. Why in the world do we seem to think that it's the right thing to do to mess around, do the horizontal limbo, have kids early, and then struggle the entire time? Please understand, I was one of those people that did it. When I read this, I was like, man, I wish I would have read that forever ago. Get my career in place, get my job going, get my business up and running, do all the stuff when it's just me. When it's just me. And once that's all in place and I know for a fact that me and my family are gonna be good, then go find a wife and have kids. That's like, I wish somebody would have told me that in that exact way. Probably would have listened, man. Probably would have listened, especially if it was somebody who got that passion, like, look, boy, listen, right? Like, come on, man. Alicia, you're back. That right there. Y'all take that Proverb 24:27. If you got kids, you tell them that. Don't let your kids go through the same path that you did. If you went through the path that I did, my kids missed like 3-4 Christmases because I wasn't going to lie to my kids and put ourselves in a terrible place because I just had to max out a credit card. You know what I'm saying? We getting Christmas present? Not this year. Unless grandma and grandpa about to do it for you. Not this year. We broke. I'm sorry. That's why I didn't tell you about no Santa Claus. Now it's to the point that we don't even celebrate nothing. And again, has nothing to do with religious belief, nothing. It's just how we are. Right? Like, me and my wife celebrated our anniversary because we celebrate each other. You know what I'm saying? But we don't really celebrate birthdays. We don't celebrate any of the holidays. It's just like whatever. I mean, but didn't want to do that silly stuff, man. My kids got it. My kids don't take money for granted now either. My kids understand the value of $1. They don't feel like they deserve this stuff and they don't go do reckless things. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Don't be a witness against your neighbor for no reason. Would you use your lips to deceive? Y'all, we be on some stuff. We be on some stuff. Why in the world do we feel like it's okay to lie about people, man? It don't make no sense. What kind of ground do you gain by lying on somebody, especially if that somebody walks above reproach, especially if that somebody has a character that right when you say something, there's going to be like, you know what I mean? I didn't. Anthony, bro, I kid you not. My kids be saying something about Santa Claus. I was like, he don't even exist. Better knock it off with that crap. I ain't about to go break my back for 97 hours a week so you can have a PlayStation. Get it out your mind. There's no such thing as Santa Claus. I was cold-blooded. Anthony, I was wild with my kids, man. If y'all ever meet my kids, y'all gonna be like, y'all gonna be like, this dude was a angry mobster with his kids. Like, my kids be telling stories, man. I was definitely an iron fist in my kids' lives. The one thing that was for certain was that I loved them. Like, straight up. Shoot, Abdel, I think Abdel seen me with my kids a couple of times. I'll be wilding out. I had my kid, y'all, at 13 years old, kids would be walking through Target, see their friends, they go try to take out, you better keep your hand on that car before you break it. A 13-year-old boy walking through Target holding a cart. Like, I was hard on my kids, man. Like, straight up. Luis. See, I never got that. All I got was, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, we don't really celebrate much. It's just like whatever. And again, it's not religious belief, nothing. It's literally, we just don't. We just don't. God has always kept me, and it's always kept me outside of these arguments and stuff that's happened. And I was just like, you know what I mean? But then sometimes people will take my stance on it and then be trying to use it in an argument. I'm like, don't use me, man. It has nothing to do with belief. It's just what happened. Like, you have your argument. Don't bring me into it, man. That's the one thing I can't stand, man. I can't stand it when people bring you into an argument. They be getting into an argument themselves, and they ain't gonna be like, well, Bobby, you know what? Hey, Bobby, come in here and say something. Hey, you better handle that yourself. You got that into yourself. You better handle that yourself. What's wrong with you? Over here trying to bring me into something that has nothing to do with me, man. It's crazy, bro. I had somebody do that, put me in a post, all up in a post. They was arguing with somebody else, put me in the post. You kidding me? They get crazy, man. Little kids, bro. Can't fight their own battles on some wild stuff. Don't say, I'll do to him what he did to me. I'll pay him back for what his deeds deserve. God's vengeance is worse than yours will ever be. And don't be mad if God's vengeance doesn't unfold on somebody. Let it be God's will, period. Always let it be God's will. I mean, people be, God forgives, I don't. Sucks for you, man. Probably better change that slogan in your life, because last time that I checked, God ain't gonna forgive me if I don't forgive them. God forgives, I don't. Man, you think you gonna be in hell taking over? You dead wrong. Them things will be doing all kinds of brutal stuff to you because they don't care nothing about you. You look, sound, smell, and seem like God. Bad stuff is gonna happen. And on top of that, they couldn't go to heaven by taking over your body, so they gonna abuse your soul over and over and over again. Don't you dare play that game. You ain't gonna go to hell and take over some stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that. And let God be God. Let God be God. Let God handle it. Don't think that your vengeance is better than God's, man. See, this is where, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. And then y'all gonna be like, yo, you crazy. There's something wrong with you. Y'all already think I'm crazy. We'll just leave it at that level of crazy. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Y'all gonna be like, no, he's for real crazy, but he can't be because he knows he is. And that's weird, right? So I'm gonna leave it alone. I was gonna say something. I'll leave it alone. But I'm just saying, there was some things not right up here. But the greatest part about it is that these things that aren't right up here are right with my Father, because nobody will ever pull me out of that relationship with him. I had somebody one time when I was a super young believer. I'm talking so young believer that I didn't even really pick up my Bible ever, right? Like super young believer, like just barely even came into contact with an encounter with God. And somebody told me, I'll make your faith disappear right now. You just talk to me, I'll make it happen all the time. And man, they told me the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, why in the world would I ever let that take me out of my faith? Because you're wrong. I don't even read my Bible like that. And I know you're wrong. You weirdo. Get out of here, man. You put yourself all up on a pedestal. I make people forget their faith. Get out of here, bro. You ain't even good at it. Like, I don't even read my Bible and I know what you just said isn't true. Weirdy, go on. Go and get. Smack that man in the back. Kicked him out of my house. Nah, I didn't do that. But it was crazy. And then he felt a certain type of way because he couldn't waver my faith. And then we just stopped talking. It's like whatever. You know what I mean? That was long, many moons ago. Many moons ago. That was a very young Bobby. Chris hadn't died yet. I passed by the field of a lazy man in the vineyard of the man lacking sense. There it was, overgrown with thistles. The ground was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. I looked and I thought about it. I saw and I learned this lesson. I'll just lie here a little bit, rest a little longer, just fold my hands for a little more sleep, and poverty comes marching in on you. Scarcity hits you like an invading soldier. Have oil in your lamp. Have oil in your lamp. Hey, Joseph. Hold on. I will swing on, boy. Joseph, I'll swing on you and knock the left side of your beard off your face. You ever do that? Nah, I know that dude wouldn't do that. Hope you had a good night, bro. Straight up. I'm tired. I ain't getting on the game, nothing, man. I'm getting done with this. I'm probably put some food in my mouth. I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired. Look, always have your lamp filled. Always be full of oil. Do not be that person that lays down and goes to sleep. Do not be the person that takes your eyes off of the goal. Do not be the person that sits down and goes, somebody else needs to push. Y'all, your walk is your walk. Your walk is your walk. It don't matter how good I talk about you. It's about you and your relationship with God. It don't matter how many times I bring up your name in a conversation and talk God like, man, I thank you for this, brother or sister. It matters what you do with God. Don't go to sleep at the wheel when you're walking with God. Don't be lazy and not develop your own relationship with God. Don't be that person that never picks up your word and doesn't hear what God's got for you. There is something specific for each and every one of us in his word. And the crazy part about it is that when we set out on our feet to do as God has instructed, not only do we get accomplished what it is that we're supposed to accomplish, we do it in the excellence and the way that God intended, which will line up with each and every other part of the body that does what they're supposed to do with God. And it always brings us to the one conclusion, the one true conclusion. It is God's show. We're just the extras that might make it look a little bit better. But it's God's movie. It's God's show. We're just the particle effects that he created himself to do exactly what needs to be done. Do not get lazy and think that you can just coast in your relationship with God. Think you can coast in your marriage? Marriage isn't going to work. Think you can coast at your job's going to get lost. You think you can coast in your friendships and never be around? They're going to go away. Just saying. Be intentional with your relationship with God. Watch what happens. Be intentional in your relationship with your community. Watch what happens. Be intentional with your marriage. Watch what happens. Be intentional with your children. Watch what happens. It will always have life. Never get yourself folded with your arms sleeping when you know you have things to do. Look, I hope you guys heard something that was encouraging. I hope you guys heard something that you can apply. I hope you guys heard something that caused a little bit of conviction and made you say, you know what, today's the day that I start, or today's the day that I stop. I hope and pray that there was enough explanation and not too much crazy for you to be focused and move forward in the excellence that God has called you in, man. Continue to press in with him. He loves you so much, so much. Get into that very real relationship. You know what I'm saying? Today's service was titled, When God Says No. It was good, man. God will say no. There are people that will tell you that God don't say no. Oh yeah, God will tell you no, especially if it's going to wind up with you with a needle in your arm not serving him. He going to tell you no when he knows it's going to hurt you more than help you. He going to tell you no. Matter of fact, that last time when you was about to go to that place that you weren't supposed to go and you couldn't find your keys, that was God telling you no, man. You just wound up trying to find any way that you could, or jumped into somebody else's car, went anyway, and came away with that goose egg that you wasn't supposed to get because God was trying to protect you, but you thought your way was better. God will tell you no. God will tell you no. Don't let somebody lie to you and say that God always says yes. No, he don't. He will tell you no if it's about to kill you. He will tell you no if it's about to take you out of his presence. He will tell you no in so many different ways and road signs that you have no idea. Last time he told me no in every single road sign, I wound up with a DUI that cost me $37,000 and a whole bunch of extra time that I shouldn't have been spending. But man, my legs were strong from riding my bike to work. Just saying, don't do that. Understand that God will tell you no. God's probably told you no on multiple things in your lifetime. You've just never looked at the road signs. Start paying attention because God shows you everything. Right? Walk in that excellence, man. Continue to press. Continue to grow your relationship and continue to be in excellence in the Father. Love you guys to life in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Whoop!
Means community, and they seem to think that it has to do with the building.
Remnant.